pause whatever you're doing and lean in, because what you're about to hear isn't just a message, it's a divine summons. This moment right now is not random, it's not coincidence, it's God's perfect orchestration, carefully aligning the right message at the exact time your spirit needed it most. You've been waiting for clarity, you've been crying out for a sign, and here it is. Heaven has issued the final verdict over your situation. Your battle is over. Yes, the very war that's worn you down, the one you thought would never end, the one that has tested every fiber of your faith. God says, enough. The case is closed. Can you feel the shift in the atmosphere? Something is being released right now in the spirit realm. Chains are breaking, burdens are lifting, and divine justice is being served in your favor. If something inside you is resonating right now, comment 777 below as a bold and prophetic agreement with God's timing. That number isn't just symbolic, it's spiritual alignment. It means you're in sync with what heaven is declaring over your life in this very hour. And before we go any further, I want to take a sacred moment to deeply thank each one of you who has supported this channel through Super Thanks. Your generosity is more than a gift. It's a seed planted into good ground, and it's making it possible for this message to reach souls across the world. Thank you for believing in this ministry. Thank you for walking this journey of faith with us. But listen closely, what you've just heard is only the beginning. There's something far more powerful God wants to reveal to you before the day ends. Because while the battle is over, your next chapter is just beginning. And it holds purpose, favor, and instruction straight from the throne of grace. You're not just receiving closure today, you're about to gain access to the reason behind it all. Why did you go through so much pain? Why did certain people leave? Why did the delays happen just before the breakthrough? Could it be that everything you faced was never meant to break you, but to prepare you for something far greater, something that only God could orchestrate in secret? Stay with me, because in the next few moments, your eyes will be opened to a truth that will not only bring peace to your soul, but direction for your destiny. This isn't just a word, it's your personal confirmation, wrapped in divine timing. Let's go deeper. What you're about to hear may just be the very thing you've been waiting your whole life to understand. God's chosen ones, the verdict is in. Your battle is over. Watch before the day ends. Imagine standing in a celestial courtroom, surrounded by divine light, with your struggles laid bare before a panel of beings who understand every hardship you've endured, every tear you've shed, every prayer whispered in desperation, and every sleepless night spent wondering when the pain would end, each moment recorded. As you stand there, God's gaze is not one of judgment, but of profound understanding. He sees your journey, your growth, and the battles you've fought. And today, a decree from heaven is delivered. Your case is closed. What does this declaration truly mean for you? It means that the endless cycle of hardship that once defined your life is now over. The obstacles that once appeared immovable, the patterns that kept you stuck in place, are now shifting, breaking, or disappearing entirely. This is not just an empty reassurance. This is a powerful shift at the deepest level. Something has snapped into place, and you are no longer bound by the limitations that once held you back. Whether it's a financial struggle that has resisted every attempt to overcome it, a toxic relationship pattern that caused your heartache time and time again, or a health issue that seemed impossible to heal, whatever your case was, the gavel has struck, and you are now free to move on. But how can you truly embrace this new freedom? To do so, it's important to acknowledge that your soul's growth has played a crucial role in this shift. You see, the universe doesn't allow prolonged suffering without purpose. Just as God told the Israelites to remain in the desert until they learned obedience and faith, your own struggles were meant to teach you something essential. Perhaps it was patience, learning to trust in God's timing. Maybe it was discovering your own self-worth, realizing that you are worthy of better than what you've accepted in the past. Or it could be forgiveness, learning to release the pain others caused you in order to heal your own heart. And, like the students who finally pass their exams after much hard work, you've now been allowed to graduate from this trial, having integrated the lessons you were meant to learn. Just as God spoke to the Israelites through Moses in Exodus, guiding them through hardships to prepare them for the Promised Land, your own journey has been one of preparation. The difficulties you faced weren't in vain. They were molding you, shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. Can you see how this has prepared you for what lies ahead? As the gavel falls, you are invited to step into a new chapter. The burden has been lifted and your path is clear. Are you ready to walk forward in faith, knowing that God has closed the case and that the victory is already won? The battle is over, and now it's time for you to claim what is rightfully yours. God has not only heard your cries, but He has also seen your growth. And today, He declares that the lesson is complete. You've passed the test, and your breakthrough is here. Action. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and place your hand over your heart. As you inhale deeply, feel the air filling your lungs, and as you exhale, release any lingering tension. Now, silently affirm, I accept that my case is closed. I am no longer bound by the past. I stand ready to embrace the fresh start God has ordained. As these words settle into your heart, feel the weight lifting from your spirit. This is more than just a physical gesture. It is a spiritual declaration, one that marks your release from the burdens of old struggles and sets you free to step into your new chapter. However, embracing this divine verdict also means letting go of the comfort that comes with familiarity. There's a peculiar sense of security in staying stuck, even when it's painful. Familiar pain, though difficult, is often easier to bear than the uncertainty of change. The old patterns, the old struggles, become a strange comfort zone, one that we feel we can predict, even if they cause harm. But now, God is calling you to leave behind that comfort zone. He's inviting you to step into the unknown realm of healing, growth, and progress. Yes, this is a divine invitation to leave behind the familiar pain and move forward into the new season He has prepared for you. But here's the truth. Not everyone finds it easy to release their old stories. Some people hold tightly to the past, believing that their suffering is what defines them. They are hesitant to let go, convinced that change is impossible. This is where faith comes in. Will you trust that God's decision is final and that it will lead you to a higher place? The truth is, if you can believe in this decree, it will propel you into a new life, one where you live with greater joy, peace, and freedom. As the Bible reminds us in Isaiah 43:18-19, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? God is doing a new thing in your life, and you must choose to see it. Think of it like this. If a judge declared that you no longer had to pay a heavy penalty, how would you feel? Wouldn't you rejoice in your newfound freedom, knowing that a heavy burden has been lifted? You would likely adjust your life accordingly, perhaps even celebrating the release. This is the same freedom you're being granted now, but spiritually. God has declared that your case is closed and the chains of your past are broken. It's time to rejoice and step into the life that awaits you, one full of possibilities. Now, reflect on what you can do with this new freedom. What once seemed impossible is now within your reach. Perhaps there's a dream you've been hesitant to pursue, maybe applying for that job that felt out of your grasp. or opening your heart to love once again after past hurts. Maybe it's about setting new boundaries, no longer allowing others to dictate your worth or peace. The Bible says in Philippians 4:13, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This is your moment to operate in the strength God has already provided, trusting that He is equipping you for the journey ahead. Are you ready to step into your new reality, free from the past and empowered by God's grace? The verdict has been rendered, your case is closed, and now it's time for you to live out the promise of new beginnings. Your spirit team watches with great pride as you accept this momentous shift in your life. They've seen you struggle, fight, and yearn for clarity, understanding, and relief from the burdens you've carried. Now that the breakthrough has come, picture them smiling with joy, cheering you on as they eagerly await to see what you will do with this newfound freedom. Every ounce of energy you've poured into your growth has not been in vain. It has been building momentum, fueling you to move forward with strength and purpose. This is not just a change. It is a divine affirmation of all the work you've done to reach this point. However, it's important to understand that this shift doesn't mean all challenges will disappear from your life. Life is a journey of cycles, and every season has its challenges. But here's the truth. The specific, repetitive cycle that has been tormenting you is over. This is like finishing a chapter in a book that has held your attention and struggle for so long. Now you're turning the page, ready to dive into the next chapter with excitement, curiosity, and hope for what's to come. Think of it as closing one door and walking through the next, knowing that this chapter was meant to teach you something, and now you are prepared to move forward. God's hands have cleared the table of your past struggles, and now it's your turn to arrange the next course. What will you do with this clean slate? What steps will you take to build on this foundation? This is your moment of freedom, your time to design the life you've always dreamed of. But remember, the key to navigating this new chapter with success is to stay aligned with the divine decision that has been made over your life. Your freedom isn't just a release from the past, it's an invitation to move forward with purpose and confidence. As you journey into the coming seasons, know that God is guiding you, offering insight on how to walk with assurance, faith, and clarity. Consider how this newfound freedom can propel you into places you once thought were unattainable. Maybe it's the courage to pursue a long-held dream, or perhaps it's the strength to heal old wounds and open your heart to new possibilities. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." God has already cleared the way for you. The doors to your future are wide open, waiting for you to step through. You no longer have to feel like you're on trial, constantly proving your worth or struggling for answers. You have been released, and the doors of possibility are swinging wide open. What will you do next? How will you use this freedom to build the life God has called you to live? Step through those doors with confidence. Your next chapter is waiting, and it's filled with divine purpose and endless opportunities. With your case closed and the weight of your struggles lifted, it's time to sever the ties that have kept you bound to past cycles. Picture these attachments as energetic cords, invisible but powerful links that bind you to old situations, limiting beliefs, or even people who have kept you stuck in patterns of pain and stagnation. When God declares that your burden has been lifted, these cords become obsolete. Continuing to hold on to them only slows your progress and hinders your ability to move forward into the new season of your life. What do these attachments look like in your life? Perhaps they manifest as a lingering resentment that twists your gut every time you think about a specific event in your past. Maybe it's the fear that you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes or failures, no matter how hard you try. Or it could be a person who represents the pain you've endured. someone you've tried to fix, chase, or impress, even though their presence in your life has held you back from moving forward. These attachments can feel like an anchor, preventing you from experiencing the freedom and growth that God has promised you. Now is the time to let these attachments dissolve. This doesn't mean forgetting the lessons you've learned or the experiences that shaped you. It means freeing yourself from the emotional entanglement that keeps you tethered to a past that no longer serves you. The process of releasing these attachments can be powerful and transformative, and it begins with forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrongs that were done to you or pretending the hurt never happened. Instead, it is about liberating yourself from the grip of bitterness and anger that only serves to keep you trapped in a cycle of pain. Think about the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph's brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and left him for dead. Despite the years of suffering and hardship, Joseph chose to forgive them, saying in Genesis 50:20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph understood that forgiveness didn't mean what his brothers did was okay, but it was necessary for his own healing and for the greater purpose God had for his life. He released the attachment to the betrayal and allowed God to use it for something greater. Forgiving others is essential, but so is releasing the blame you carry toward yourself. Perhaps you've been holding on to guilt or shame for mistakes you made or for things that didn't go the way you hoped. Releasing blame doesn't mean you're absolving yourself of responsibility. It means recognizing that your past doesn't define your future. When you forgive yourself and let go of self-blame, you untie the knots that have kept you anchored to a painful past. This process of releasing attachments can be challenging, but it's necessary for your growth and freedom. As you let go of these emotional cords, you create space for new possibilities, healing, and the manifestation of God's plans for your life. Consider how much lighter and freer you will feel once these attachments are released. What would it be like to walk through life unburdened by resentment, fear, or guilt? God is calling you to step into the fullness of your divine purpose, and that means releasing the emotional baggage that has held you back. Trust that as you release these attachments, you are making room for the new blessings, opportunities, and growth that God has prepared for you. This is your time to truly move forward, unburdened and ready for what lies ahead. Take a moment to reflect on the attachments you're holding on to. Be honest with yourself and identify 3 that are no longer serving you. These may be deep-rooted beliefs, past experiences, or old wounds that you're still carrying. For example, maybe you've been telling yourself, "I will always struggle financially," or perhaps an old heartbreak is keeping you from trusting others. Whatever they are, acknowledge them, and then, for each attachment, write a statement of release. Say, "I release the belief that I am destined for failure. I open myself to success." By putting these intentions into writing, you are taking the first step in setting a new energetic standard for yourself. Releasing these attachments is not just about letting go of physical objects or past experiences. It's about shedding the illusions you've held on to. These illusions often stemmed from false beliefs that you needed someone else's validation or that you deserved hardship. But now, this is your moment to step into the truth. You are worthy of all the blessings that life has to offer. You are capable of creating the life you desire, and most importantly, you are divinely guided. However, this process of release can stir up discomfort. As you start to let go, you might feel tempted to cling to the familiar weight of these old attachments. It's important to remember that the verdict has been rendered. Your case has been closed. Holding on to the past is like carrying around a heavy chain that has long since been unlocked. You have the power to drop that chain at any time. The moment you do, you'll notice that your energy becomes free. and that energy is now available for new opportunities, healthier relationships, and personal growth. Have you ever noticed how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying burdens that aren't yours to bear? As you release these attachments, you'll feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. Emotions will flow more freely, creativity will come more easily, and the universe will start sending opportunities your way, seemingly out of nowhere. This is God's response to your willingness to travel light. When your hands are not full of baggage, you're able to grasp the blessings that God is placing in your path. Your spirit team is cheering you on throughout this process. They understand that each attachment you release makes room for fresh, vibrant energy. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered room. Once the space is cleared, it's ready for something that truly aligns with your divine purpose. As you continue along this journey of liberation, you'll begin to notice that your intuition sharpens. Without the cloud of old emotional baggage, you'll be able to clearly discern God's guidance and direction in your life. This state of release will eventually become second nature. You'll start to recognize when you're trying to attach to something that no longer serves you, and in those moments you'll ask yourself, is this worth my energy? More often than not, you'll realize it's not, and in that realization you'll continue to feel liberated. The more you let go, the more space you create for new blessings to flow into your life. Releasing attachments doesn't mean erasing your past. Your experiences have shaped you, taught you valuable lessons, and brought you to where you are today. But now, you honor those lessons, not by letting them control your future, but by transforming them into wisdom. You use the lessons learned to navigate new challenges with confidence and grace, knowing that you are better equipped than ever before. As you move forward, think of yourself as a traveler who has lightened their load. With less weight, you'll walk faster, climb higher, and see farther. Clearing away the things that no longer serve you creates space for the blessings that align with the person you are becoming. The path ahead is filled with infinite possibilities, and you are now ready to explore it with an unburdened spirit. The journey that awaits is one of divine purpose and endless potential. Isn't it time you stepped into that freedom? Once you've accepted that your old struggles have been resolved and released the burdens that once held you back, you are now in a prime position to deepen your connection with divine guidance. It's important to understand that God is not a distant figure operating from afar, like a puppet master controlling the strings of the universe. Instead, God is intimately present in every moment of your life, guiding each breath you take, each decision you make. The moment you clear the old distractions, you create space to tune in more clearly to the divine voice that has always been there, waiting for your attention. How can you strengthen this connection? It begins with stillness. In the chaos of our modern world, where noise and distraction seem ever-present, learning to cultivate quiet moments is a powerful act of rebellion. It's easy to think that you need hours of meditation in a peaceful, isolated place, but that's not always necessary. Begin with small steps, just a few minutes in the morning or before bed, where you can be fully present with yourself. All you need is a moment of silence, a chance to breathe, and a willingness to invite the divine into your heart. In those moments of peace, you can imagine God's voice as a gentle, steady stream flowing through your consciousness, bringing with it not just words, but divine wisdom and encouragement. Does this seem too simple or perhaps too quiet for such a powerful being? Remember that in the Bible, when Elijah sought God, he didn't hear God's voice in the mighty wind, the earthquake, or the fire. Instead, it was in the still, small voice where he found the divine presence. 1 Kings 19:11-12. What if God is speaking to you in those quiet moments of stillness, just waiting for you to listen? Could it be that the guidance you're seeking is already there, waiting for you to pause and notice? By inviting stillness into your life, You're not just clearing space for God's voice to enter, but also strengthening your ability to hear it clearly. It's not about trying to force something to happen. It's about allowing yourself the time and space to be open to God's subtle promptings. Have you ever had a moment of clarity where a simple thought felt like a divine nudge? Imagine if you could experience more of those moments by simply embracing stillness and tuning in to the frequency of the divine. As you embark on this practice, trust that God's guidance is always present. It's not about the length of time you spend in silence, but the quality of your connection, just as a stream doesn't need to roar to carry water. God's voice doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Are you ready to hear it in the quiet? The journey of divine guidance is waiting for you, and it begins with just a moment of peace. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your abdomen, grounding yourself in the rhythm of your breath. As you take slow, deliberate breaths, feel the movement of your body, how it responds to each inhale and exhale. In the silence of this moment, ask God quietly, "What do I need to know today?" Pause for a moment and truly listen. You may not hear words in your mind's ear. Instead, you might sense a feeling, see a vivid image, or experience an intuitive nudge guiding you. Trust that this subtle form of guidance is just as real as any spoken word. Even if it's not immediately obvious, be assured that divine guidance is at work. The more you practice checking in, the more natural it will feel to tune into this divine language. In time, you'll develop the ability to distinguish between the impulses driven by your ego and the true counsel of your spirit. When a thought arises, pause and ask yourself, does this feel expansive or constrictive? The divine often brings thoughts that feel expansive, filling you with hope, clarity, and peace. On the other hand, thoughts that come from fear or shame rarely align with the divine. Instead of leading you to peace, they often tighten your chest and cloud your mind. Remember, God's voice does not bring confusion or anxiety, but rather a sense of calm assurance. Have you noticed that when you follow divine guidance, things often unfold in ways that feel right, even if they don't make sense initially? As you strengthen your connection to divine guidance, you'll begin to notice synchronicities occurring more frequently in your life. These are not random coincidences. They are God's way of confirming that you are on the right path. You might overhear a conversation that answers a question you've been pondering, or stumble upon a book that speaks directly to the challenge you're facing. These small, seemingly insignificant moments are divine confirmations that you're aligned with the flow of the universe. In the Bible, we see how God used small signs to guide his people, whether it was the burning bush that spoke to Moses or the star that guided the wise men to Jesus. Could these signs in your life be divine moments calling you to trust that God is guiding you as well? Increased sensitivity to these signs will allow you to move through life with more ease and confidence. Decisions that once left you paralyzed by fear or indecision will become clearer. Instead of endlessly weighing pros and cons, you'll begin to sense the path that feels divinely approved. This doesn't mean that life becomes obstacle-free, but it does mean that when challenges arise, you face them with the firm belief that God is by your side, helping you navigate them. Even when detours or setbacks appear, you'll learn to view them not as failures, but as meaningful lessons and opportunities for growth. Another important layer of this divine connection is gratitude. Take the time to thank God for every bit of guidance, every subtle whisper that calms your doubts. Gratitude doesn't just acknowledge what God has already done. It opens your heart to receive even more. When you begin to recognize and appreciate the ways in which God communicates with you, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready for deeper insights and greater blessings. Gratitude, like a powerful magnet, draws more of God's wisdom into your life. Have you experienced moments where simply acknowledging your blessings deepens your connection to the divine? In those moments, your heart expands, and the flow of divine love and guidance only increases. Through stillness, trust, and gratitude, you invite God's presence more deeply into your life, allowing His guidance to become a powerful and transformative force. Are you ready to listen more closely to His whispers? Your spirit team plays an essential role in this divine communication network, acting as loving messengers who help interpret the subtle hints God is sending your way. Think of them as guides placed in your path to help you decode God's messages. They might leave symbolic feathers, signs of divine presence, or inspire vivid dreams that provide clarity to questions you've been pondering. Sometimes they may orchestrate meetings or chance encounters with people that lead to breakthroughs or insights you needed. The more open you are to these signs, the more easily you'll begin to recognize the gentle nudges from your spirit team. Have you ever wondered how many of your coincidences were really divine messages guiding you? As you deepen your connection with God, your relationship with Him evolves from something formal into something far more intimate. It becomes a dynamic, two-way conversation, one where you speak, listen, laugh, and even cry together. Prayer, which once may have felt like a desperate plea for help, shifts into an ongoing dialogue rooted in trust and appreciation. It's no longer about asking for things, but rather sharing your heart with the divine and finding comfort in His presence. This sacred bond of constant communion ensures that you're never truly alone, even during the most challenging times. Do you realize that the more intimately you know God, the more you realize He's always been there, quietly waiting for you to recognize His voice in your life? Strengthening your connection to divine guidance also builds your resilience. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you won't fall apart. Instead, you'll pause, tune in, and receive the assurance that you are equipped to handle whatever comes next. The inner compass you cultivate through divine connection becomes your anchor. No matter how the storms of life may rage on the outside, you'll remain grounded, knowing that your spiritual guidance is steady and unwavering. Can you recall a time when, despite feeling overwhelmed, you paused and heard a whisper of reassurance that everything would work out? That inner guidance is what helps you keep moving forward, even when the world feels uncertain. As you continue on your journey, think of divine guidance as a constant, reliable companion, a North Star that will never fade, even when clouds pass overhead. The more you trust in it, the brighter it will shine in your life, guiding you through each new challenge and opportunity. This is not just a one-time gift. It's a steady beacon that illuminates your path, guiding you toward your higher purpose. Isn't it reassuring to know that you have something constant in your life, something divine, to turn to no matter what? In future chapters, we'll explore how to harness this divine guidance to create new realities, deepen your life's purpose, and amplify the positive ripple effect of your transformation. For now, take a moment to cherish the growing sensitivity you've developed. You've worked hard to clear out blockages and release past baggage. Now, you're fine-tuning your spiritual antenna, ready to pick up the finest signals from the heavens. Each time you pause and listen, you affirm that you are guided, supported, and profoundly loved. Have you noticed how your sensitivity has increased lately? Trust that with each passing day, your connection to divine guidance grows stronger, helping you navigate this journey with a deeper sense of clarity and confidence. Divine guidance is never intended to remain confined to the abstract or unseen realms of your thoughts and spirit. It longs to manifest itself in tangible, physical form. God has closed your case, not to leave you in limbo, but to empower you to take action. Now, with a deeper connection to divine wisdom, you are called to transform these spiritual insights into real-world results. Consider yourself as a conduit. a vessel through which divine intelligence flows, influencing and shaping your daily life. It's like being the bridge between heaven and earth, where inspiration from above becomes the foundation for change on the ground. Perhaps you've experienced subtle nudges from within, ideas urging you to begin a project that could uplift your community, switch career paths to something more aligned with your true purpose, or build deeper, more authentic connections in your personal relationships. These nudges are not mere fleeting thoughts. They are whispers from the divine, calling you to act. But here's the key. The true power of these insights is only unlocked when they are put into motion. It's not enough to receive divine inspiration and keep it locked away in the mind or spirit. For example, when Moses was called by God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, he could have hesitated, doubting his ability or wondering if the time was truly right. But he acted, and through his obedience, God's plan for deliverance unfolded. The same principle applies to us. We, too, are called to move from contemplation to action. Have you ever experienced that inner nudge to take a step, yet hesitated because of fear or doubt? What if those very moments were God's way of urging you to step into your purpose? How many opportunities have we missed because we hesitated to translate divine insights into tangible action? When you follow through on the guidance you receive, doors open, opportunities unfold, and divine favor begins to align with your steps. Think of it as a partnership between you and the Creator. You are not left to figure it all out alone. God is with you every step of the way. In the Bible, God often called his people to act in faith before they could see the outcome. Consider the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. God commanded Joshua to march around the city for 7 days before the walls fell. It wasn't the marching itself that caused the walls to fall, but the obedience and faith in God's instructions that activated his power. Just like Joshua, we too must act in faith, trusting that God's guidance, when followed, will lead to breakthrough. When we translate divine wisdom into physical actions, we align ourselves with God's will for our lives. Are you ready to step into that calling? What is God prompting you to do today? Take a moment to reflect on the guidance you've received in recent days. It may have been a subtle nudge or a more direct directive from the divine. Whatever it is, commit to taking a concrete step to act on it. For instance, if you felt led to explore a new career field, take the first step by researching courses or scheduling an informational interview with someone already in that industry. Or if you've been prompted to heal a strained relationship, perhaps it's time to write a heartfelt message or set up a conversation. By taking action, you are grounding divine energy in physical form, bridging the gap between the spiritual realm and the material world. However, be aware that immediate results might not always follow. Just as seeds need time to grow, the seeds of divine guidance also require nurturing. Patience is key. While you're taking action, understand that the journey isn't about forcing specific outcomes, but about trusting in God's plan and allowing each step to bring you closer to your destiny. Consider the story of Abraham. When God called him to leave his homeland and journey into the unknown, Abraham didn't know what awaited him, yet he obeyed in faith. He trusted that God's plan was bigger than his understanding, and each step he took brought him closer to the fulfillment of God's promises. Similarly, your actions, grounded in trust, will take you closer to what God has prepared for you. It's not about clinging to a particular outcome, but trusting that every action moves you closer to your divine purpose. By acting on divine guidance, you begin to see obstacles not as barriers, but as stepping stones. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable may now appear as opportunities to grow stronger, develop new skills, or demonstrate your resilience. For example, David faced a giant, but through his faith and action, that giant became a platform for his future. In the same way, the obstacles in your life can be transformed when you act from a place of certainty rather than desperation. Living in alignment with divine guidance also impacts your energy field. You begin to radiate confidence and peace, qualities that others can't help but notice. They may not know exactly what has changed about you, but they'll feel drawn to the positive energy you exude. Just as Jesus' light shone in the world, your example can inspire others to trust their own inner guidance, sparking a ripple effect of empowered living. Remember, not every action you take will result in monumental change. Sometimes the small, subtle actions have a powerful cumulative effect. It might be offering a kind word at just the right moment, or choosing to spend an evening reading something uplifting instead of succumbing to worry. These small shifts, though seemingly insignificant, contribute to a larger divine flow in your life. They are the brushstrokes that create a masterpiece. Your spirit team is celebrating each practical step you take, knowing how many people receive divine guidance but fail to act on it. So many blessings are left untapped when we hesitate to move forward, but you, through your willingness to take action, are harvesting the fruit of divine wisdom. You're not just talking about faith and intention, you are living it out through tangible efforts. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. When you hear divine whispers, you trust them and take action. Even when doubt lingers, you rely on the inner compass you've developed through faith and experience. This is what it means to harmonize with God's plan, not trying to control every outcome, but partnering with grace and wisdom to shape your journey. As we move forward into the next chapters, we will explore how to sustain the momentum of this process, ensuring that divine guidance continues to be an enduring part of your daily life. But for now, take a moment to congratulate yourself for being willing to be that bridge between the spiritual and the material. You're creating a life where God's voice is not just heard but acted upon, and where your dreams find solid footing in reality. How will you continue to take the next step in faith? What action will you take today? As you continue on your spiritual journey, maintaining steadfast faith and confidence becomes not only necessary, but crucial. When God declares that your case has been closed, it is natural to experience moments of uncertainty. You might wonder if this peace, this sense of divine guidance, is too good to be true, fearing that it could vanish at any moment. However, take heart, for God is not playing games with you. The closing of your case is not a fleeting, temporary escape, but rather a permanent milestone in your spiritual evolution. This declaration marks a significant moment, one that proves you are ready to live in greater alignment with God's divine will. It's easy to doubt when things begin to go smoothly, as you may wonder if you can truly trust in this new phase of your life. But consider the journey that led you here. Reflect on the steps you took, even the hardships, as they were not mere coincidences. Each part of your path was divinely orchestrated. Every challenge, every lesson was intentionally placed to bring you closer to your divine purpose. Just as the Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years, their struggles ultimately led them to the promised land. Every hardship you faced has prepared you for the blessings that now await you. Could it be that these moments of doubt are actually part of the process, guiding you toward greater trust in God? Confidence in your divine purpose flows more easily when you remember that you are never truly alone. You are in partnership with a higher intelligence, God's Spirit, who is wholly committed to your growth, to your flourishing. In Matthew 28:20, Jesus promises, "And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." This assurance from Christ reminds us that we are supported at every turn. Even when we feel uncertain, we can find comfort in knowing that God walks with us. But what happens when doubt creeps back in? When the challenges of life make you question if the peace you feel is truly permanent? Doubt should not be seen as a sign of regression or failure. Instead, View it as an invitation to reconnect with your inner truth. When doubts arise, don't panic or spiral into fear. Take a moment to pause and reflect. Use this as an opportunity to dive deeper into your spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, journaling, and even taking a quiet moment to breathe deeply can allow you to listen for divine reassurance. As the psalmist declares in Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." In stillness, God's presence becomes more tangible, helping to calm the turmoil in our hearts and restore our confidence. Do you remember the story of the disciples in the storm? When they feared for their lives, Jesus was there, calm and unshaken, commanding the winds and the waves to cease. Just as Jesus calmed the storm, he can also calm the doubts that stir within you. Will you allow yourself to rest in his peace? Each time you affirm your trust in God, you reinforce the faith that will guide you through life's challenges. As you walk through life with the confidence that God has already closed the case, know that this is a victory that has been long in the making. Your growth is the result of countless divine moments woven together, and as you continue, you will begin to see more clearly how every step was part of God's greater plan for you. Trust that what lies ahead is a manifestation of God's will, and in this, you will find a peace that surpasses all understanding. Please create a simple, heartfelt ritual to reaffirm your faith whenever doubts threaten your peace. For example, when uncertainty creeps in, light a candle and speak words of affirmation. I am supported, my path is guided, all is well. Or find a quiet space to close your eyes, inhale slowly, and visualize God's radiant light encircling you. Imagine this light seeping into every cell, reminding you that divine presence is your constant companion. Each time you engage in this ritual, you transform a potentially disheartening moment into an opportunity to deepen your trust and solidify your sacred connection. Your faith and confidence will also flourish as you shift your perspective on life's inevitable challenges. Understand that encountering obstacles doesn't mean your energy has regressed or your spiritual progress has stalled. Rather, these hurdles are exercises that strengthen the spiritual muscles you've diligently developed. Now, instead of reacting with fear or frustration, you approach problems with a problem solver's mindset. Anchored in faith, you know solutions will appear at the proper time, and you trust that every struggle hides a lesson essential to your growth. Surrounding yourself with supportive individuals further nourishes your confidence. Seek out friends, mentors, or communities that uplift, encourage, and celebrate your spiritual journey. While you needn't judge or dismiss those who doubt you, be mindful of whose voices you allow to influence your mindset. Just as a gardener chooses fertile soil for seeds, so you choose life-giving relationships that sustain your faith. Over time, these nurturing connections form a network of strength, reflecting your evolving inner landscape. When doubts occasionally re-emerge, remember how far you've come. Revisit the feeling of entrapment you once knew, when your path felt murky and uncertain. Compare it to the liberation that washed over you upon realizing your case had been closed. Recall how you learned to clear energetic attachments and cultivate a greater receptivity to divine guidance. Relive the small but meaningful victories, moments when your intuition rang true, when a prayer was answered in an unexpected way, when obstacles turned into gateways for expanded understanding. Recognize that none of this came about by accident. It's the result of your dedication, surrender, and willingness to trust in forces beyond your immediate perception. Your spirit team applauds the resilience you're now building. They understand that maintaining unwavering faith and confidence is not achieved by a single grand gesture, but through ongoing practice and gentle persistence. Each time you refuse to give in to old insecurities and instead anchor yourself in divine truth, you strengthen the energetic framework of your life. Over the weeks, months, and years to come, this framework grows more robust, ensuring your faith no longer wavers at the first sign of difficulty. As your conviction solidifies, you become a beacon of stability for others. Your unwavering faith radiates a calming energy. Those around you, sensing your grounded confidence, may find their own courage to trust the unseen mysteries guiding them forward. In this way, your personal faith generates ripples of hope and empowerment, contributing to a collective elevation of consciousness. Your inner work, sustained and steady, becomes a gift to everyone you encounter. As we move toward the final chapters, hold fast to the understanding that your faith is not fragile, but a renewable resource you can strengthen through consistent reflection, prayer, and aligned action. When doubt knocks on your door, remember, you possess the key to a spiritual sanctuary built on divine promises and real-life experiences. No storm can topple walls raised with sincerity, perseverance, and love. In the next chapters, we will discuss integrating these principles so deeply that they become woven into the tapestry of your daily life. By doing so, you ensure that the miraculous shifts you've experienced aren't fleeting impressions, but enduring patterns, solid ground upon which you can build the life your soul has always known you were destined to live. You've reached a pivotal moment in your spiritual journey, a point where the changes you've experienced must now transition from temporary flashes of insight into lasting daily truths. It's one thing to have a breakthrough or to receive divine guidance. It's quite another to incorporate that transformation so deeply into your life that it becomes a permanent part of who you are. This is the essence of solidifying your new reality, ensuring that your spiritual growth is not just a passing phase, but the foundation of your everyday life. Solidifying this new reality means moving past the initial bursts of inspiration, those fleeting moments of spiritual high, and instead committing to a steady, sustained practice where spiritual principles not only influence, but govern your worldview. These principles must evolve from mere lofty ideals into everyday truths. Think about the early Christians who, after receiving the Holy Spirit, didn't just celebrate their newfound faith on Sundays, they lived it out daily. Acts 2:42 reminds us that they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Their transformation wasn't a one-time event. It was a continual practice of aligning their lives with God's will. Have you integrated your spiritual insights into every aspect of your life yet? This process of solidification can be likened to pouring a solid foundation beneath a newly constructed building. Without that foundation, no matter how grand the design, the structure will eventually settle or shift. Similarly, if you don't put in the consistent effort to reinforce your spiritual practices, old habits may begin to resurface, and doubts could creep back in. Just as an architect would never build a towering structure on shifting sand, you cannot expect to maintain your spiritual progress without a firm, steady base. But what happens if doubts or old behaviors reappear? Don't be discouraged. Remember, you are not the person you once were. You've tasted the sweetness of freedom, clarity, and alignment. You've experienced the presence of God in a way that has reshaped your perspective on life. In 2 Corinthians 5:17, Paul assures us, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." These words aren't just a reminder, they're a declaration of the truth you've already begun to walk in. The old has been transformed. It's up to you now to guard these newfound treasures, this peace and this clarity, with diligent awareness and dedicated action. Consider the story of the Israelites who, after being freed from Egypt, had to solidify their faith and trust in God during their 40 years in the wilderness. They didn't just experience freedom once and forget it. They had to learn to walk in it every day, to rely on God's provision, and to trust in His timing. They faced trials, they stumbled, but each challenge was part of God's plan to prepare them for the promised land. Could it be that the challenges you face now are simply refining your faith and preparing you for the next stage of your spiritual journey? Now that you know what it feels like to stand in your truth, it's your responsibility to protect that truth. Just as a builder ensures that every layer of the foundation is secure, you must be vigilant in your spiritual practices, reinforcing your new reality every day. This may require dedicated time spent in prayer, meditation, or reflection, ensuring that the peace and clarity you've gained are not only protected, but also strengthened. As you continue to build on this foundation, you'll find that the structures of your old life begin to fade away, replaced by a more profound alignment with God's will. Are you ready to invest in the daily practices that will solidify your new reality? Are you willing to stay vigilant, even when life's distractions threaten to pull you off course? By consistently reinforcing your faith and practices, you're ensuring that the transformation you've experienced is not temporary, but a permanent shift toward living in God's divine purpose for your life. The journey is not over. It has just begun. Now, begin by identifying a single spiritual principle that resonates deeply with your current journey. A core value such as gratitude, patience, love, or surrender. Make that principle your daily focus. Each morning, reaffirm this commitment. For instance, today I choose gratitude. Carry that statement like a quiet torch throughout the day, illuminating your thoughts, words, and actions. Notice when you drift away from your chosen principle, when complaints, impatience, or judgment emerge, and gently steer yourself back on course. Over time, this repetition creates a new, sturdy neural pathway in your mind, making your chosen principles second nature rather than an occasional preference. Solidifying your new reality also involves celebrating your progress, no matter how subtle. You needn't wait for grand milestones or external accolades. Each time you respond to a minor irritation with understanding instead of anger, or meet a personal challenge with faith rather than dread, you reinforce your new way of being. These small moments are sacred confirmations that your transformation isn't mere rhetoric, it's genuine evolution. By acknowledging these incremental victories, you remind yourself that profound change often unfolds in delicate increments, like gentle waves polishing a shore until it sparkles. Throughout this process, treat yourself with kindness and patience. Spiritual evolution rarely follows a straight, upward trajectory. It is a path filled with plateaus where you rest and integrate, dips where you revisit old patterns to refine them further, and occasional detours that lead you to unexpected insights. There will be days when you feel expansive and connected, and others when you feel slightly off-center. This is entirely normal. What matters is not attaining some unattainable perfection, but cultivating consistency and resilience. God never asked for flawlessness, only for heartfelt dedication. Each sincere attempt to live from your higher nature strengthens the divine connection that nourishes your journey. Your spirit team rejoices as you embrace this phase of integration. While initial epiphanies are exhilarating, true mastery emerges when you maintain these shifts over time. By weaving spiritual truths into your daily mindset, you create an environment where divine energy can flow effortlessly, guiding your words, your choices, and your relationships without the need for constant conscious intervention. Life's inevitable challenges become more manageable because you're operating from a stable spiritual platform rather than scrambling for balance at every turn. As you solidify these new patterns, consider their influence on every dimension of your existence. Your professional life, once fueled perhaps by stress or competition, may now unfold with greater compassion, intuition, and collaboration. In your personal relationships, kindness and forgiveness rise to the surface, allowing conflicts to resolve more gracefully and bonds to deepen organically. Even your leisure time transforms as you choose activities that nurture your soul, engaging in creative pursuits, spending time in nature, or sharing laughter with loved ones, over the empty distractions that once drained your energy. Over time, you'll find that living in alignment with divine guidance is no longer something you must consciously remember. It's who you are. Principles that once took deliberate effort to enact now arise naturally. Gratitude flows as effortlessly as breath, compassion emerges as naturally as thought, and patience accompanies every decision like a steady companion. This doesn't mean life suddenly becomes challenge-free. Problems will appear as they always have, but your response to them is fundamentally different. You meet obstacles with faith, seeing them as opportunities to refine your inner strength rather than threats to your inner peace. In the final chapter, we will gather all these threads, reflecting on your remarkable evolution from entanglement in old struggles to the liberated grace you now embody. For now, honor your commitment to solidifying this new reality. Each day spent living these principles more deeply anchors God's truth in your heart, ensuring that your renewed energy, purpose, and alignment become the enduring tone of your life. Take pride in the progress you've made. You have laid a new spiritual groundwork, brick by brick, choice by choice, thought by thought, and you stand securely on its foundation. Your new reality is no longer a distant dream or a fragile wish. It's a solid, unwavering presence within you. And with this strength, you stride forward into whatever the future holds, confident that you'll remain steady, centered, and divinely guided through all of life's unfolding chapters. As you settle into this lifelong commitment to growth, recognize that each phase of your journey will have its own flavor. There might be seasons where expansion feels effortless, where synchronicities abound, and your heart brims with inspiration. In those times, rejoice in the flow of grace. Use these moments to plant seeds, ideas, projects, relationships that can sustain you when challenges arise. Then, there will be seasons of contraction, where lessons feel heavy and forward motion slows. Don't mistake these periods for failure or regression. They are essential pauses that allow you to integrate what you've learned, strengthening your foundation for future growth. In these quieter phases, lean into faith rather than forcing progress. Trust that God's plan includes ebbs as well as flows, and that sometimes the soil of your soul needs rest before it can produce the next harvest. Just as farmers respect the rhythm of planting and harvesting, respect the rhythms of your spiritual journey. By doing so, you stay aligned with divine timing rather than pushing against it. Your evolving perspective will also influence how you interpret life's events. Instead of labeling experiences as strictly good or bad, you'll see them as pieces of a larger mosaic, each contributing its unique color and shape to the whole. You might look back on an adversity that once brought you to your knees and realize it taught you empathy, perseverance, or discernment, qualities that now guide you through new challenges with steady resolve. Over time, this mindset makes you more resilient, adaptable, and open-minded. You'll notice that even your language changes. Complaints give way to observations, judgments to understanding, and despair to quiet hope. Your words carry the imprint of divine wisdom, subtly encouraging those who hear them to consider new possibilities for their own lives. This approach to growth also frees you from the race to meet external standards. Society often pushes rigid timelines for success or benchmarks for worthiness, but your path isn't about impressing anyone else. It's about fulfilling the unique purpose God has placed within you. As you honor this purpose, you'll naturally gravitate toward endeavors that resonate with your soul, rather than chasing validation from others. This authenticity not only feels liberating, it magnetizes opportunities that truly align with your calling. As your journey continues, don't hesitate to seek help when you need it. Spiritual mentors, supportive communities, even the words of wise authors and teachers can illuminate your way when your vision dims. Humility and interconnectedness are vital. By acknowledging that we all learn from each other's experiences, you create a network of mutual support that nurtures collective ascent. Remember that God delights in your progress. Each step you take toward growth, each lesson integrated, each moment of expanded awareness is a cause for celebration in the spiritual realms. You're proving that human life, though fraught with challenges, can serve as a canvas for divine artistry. In your willingness to evolve, you reflect back to God the very love and creativity invested in your creation. As you continue walking, keep attuning yourself to inner signals. Trust that you'll sense when a cycle is complete and a new chapter begins. Trust that when it's time to let go of old patterns again, you'll have the strength to do so. Trust that when fresh challenges arise, you'll meet them with resourcefulness and courage. This self-assurance comes not from arrogance, but from the deep knowing that you're never alone. God stands with you, within you, animating each step. Your spirit team is already excited for your future discoveries. They anticipate the wisdom you'll gain, the hearts you'll touch, and the ways you'll inspire others to see beyond their limitations. They understand that your journey is part of a grand tapestry, each thread, your thread, influencing countless others. As you embrace this lifelong path of growth, you rewrite your relationship with time. Days are no longer just units ticking by. They're opportunities to refine your inner landscape and brighten your outer impact. With each rotation of the earth, you wake up with the potential to become more compassionate, more insightful, more aligned with the divine essence you carry. Look ahead with soft eyes and a steady heart. Wherever the road leads, trust that you are equipped, that God's grace surrounds you, and that every experience can be transformed into a stepping stone toward greater wholeness. This isn't about rushing to a finish line. It's about savoring the journey, fully inhabiting each moment, and gracefully evolving in harmony with the currents of spirit. As you come to the end of this message, remember that in truth, there is no real conclusion. God has declared that your case is closed, and with that closure comes an extraordinary new beginning. The doors have been opened wide, leading you to greater opportunities, deeper understanding, and a purpose that is richer than you've ever imagined. You are not the same person you once were. You are stepping into a new season of growth, aligned with God's divine plan, and equipped with the strength to face life's challenges with grace. Keep these teachings close to your heart. Let them guide you as you move forward. Feel free to revisit this video whenever you need to remind yourself of the truth that has been spoken over your life. Your spirit team is cheering you on, celebrating every step you take as you walk in faith. As you embrace the blessings and breakthroughs that are unfolding, remember that God is with you every step of the way. I want to thank each of you for joining me today, whether or not you decide to support this channel. Your presence, your energy, and your commitment to this journey means so much. If you feel led, please consider donating through Super Thanks to help us continue spreading these messages of hope and encouragement. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this message with those who may need to hear it. May God's favor continue to shine upon you. Be blessed